All right, guys, I'm recording. This is a demo on how to do the plaid rendering for your category board for your children's project. And I grabbed a plaid shirt just so we could take a quick look at it to start with. Plaids in real life are actually really complex. And if you have a real one that you want to work from, you certainly can. You might need to simplify it a tiny bit. Something to notice about a lot of plaid garments is that the plaid goes horizontally and vertically on the main parts of the garment. But you can see here, I'm trying to aim my camera, that the placket of the shirt is actually on a diagonal. Same thing with the pocket. And that's just because it looks cool. It does not serve any functional purpose. It actually is kind of not the right way to use a fabric, but it's worth it because it looks good. Okay, so let's talk about plaids. Well, I've got this one here too. Let's look at one other thing. You see the diagonal lines in here? That's part of the weave of the fabric, and that's really recognizable on a lot of traditional plaids, especially flannel shirts. So you can make your plaid using colored pencils, you can use markers, you can use watercolor, you can use whatever you've got. It's all good. I'm going to do demos with marker, and I'll do one with colored pencil right now. I like demoing in marker just because it's quick and I don't want to bore you guys. All right, I'm going to do it on marker paper. And what I did in advance was I drew myself a grid right here so that I could keep my lines relatively straight. Your plaid rendering needs to be 3 inches by 3 inches. Before we even do this though, let me show you guys a couple quick examples of past demos. Oh, where did I put them? Oh my God, where are they? Okay, hang on. I've got all these little kiddos from past classes where people wanted help with different things. Okay, so this little kid, this plaid was super complex. There was a student who was doing this plaid and it had every color of the rainbow in her 3 by 3 rendering. So when we drew it on the kid, it was a real fun but challenging process to figure out how to kind of dumb it down in a way that it looked like the same plaid but smaller. Here's what I'm talking about when I say things like that, guys. We've got the thing we're going to make right now, which is a 3 by 3 rendering of the plaid to scale. This is life size. This is the size the actual fabric would be. But next week when we draw our kids, we've got to find a way to show that same plaid on a kid to scale. So it's as if this little 8-inch tall kiddo is wearing that plaid, and we have to think, okay, what's it going to look like? You can't fit all the details in there. You almost have to squint at it and see what's the most prominent and then abstract that in a way. This hat was another good example. This is a gingham, and then we emphasize certain places but not others. I'll show you one more. I've got a bunch of these, so when we're together next week we can look at them. This skirt, you can see how the plaid lines, they don't even go all the way through. They break and they start and they stop, but it gives us the vibe of the plaid, and that's really what we're going for. And then this little one too, if you could see the bigger version of the plaid, it would have a lot more detail than what you see here. And you can see too my little testers trying to figure out how to dumb it down. Oh my God, there's a siren. All right, so let's go ahead and do some plaids. So I'm gonna let's do blue and green first, just because that's a classic combo. Just picking random colors here. I've got my grid drawn to help me. If you are a ruler kind of person, by all means, go ahead and do this with a ruler if you want to. Let me get a second color blue. So it's kind of all fair game. You're obviously going to want to be using colors that are coming from your inspiration mood board. And other than that, it's just kind of, the goal here is just kind of play around and see what you get. I think maybe to start with, I'm going to do this with leaving some white of the paper. So I'm going to do blue, dark blue, light blue, dark blue, white, dark blue, light blue, dark blue, white. And then in the other direction, I'm going to do the exact same thing. Now, some plaids do something in one direction, and then when you rotate it and go the other way, it does something different. Some plaids are the same both ways, so they're really all different. And if you want to take a look at some existing actual plaids in the real world, or online, maybe on the Mood website or fabric.com. That's a really good idea to get inspiration because plaids come in all shapes and sizes. It's traditionally created by weaving the fabric. And the warp and the weft, or that's the name of the yarns going perpendicular to each other. When they intersect, those are done in different colors, and when they intersect, that's what gives us the plaid. But you can also take a plaid pattern and just print it on a fabric. So some plaids are printed and some are woven. All right, so far so good. We need to do something here. What's really going to help this feel more realistic is wherever it intersects, like right here, dark blue over dark blue, I'm going to darken it up even more. You can see how the pen naturally got darker because the lines crossed over. But let's take a little bit of artistic license and let's darken it up even more. We're basically playing with this sort of optical illusion that we have with plaids to make our brain think it's more close to a real thing by darkening up those intersections. Okay, so what else do I want to do on this? I mean, honestly, guys, this is really all about experimenting. I'm going to take the same blue and let's put a line in my white areas here. And put a line there, put a line here. And just like I did before, I'm going to come in and I'm going to darken up where I had my intersections. I'm even putting kind of a little blob right there, which is not something that would actually be on the fabric, but it helps it to read like a plaid. Okay, I could leave well enough alone, but I've never been good at that. So I'm going to play around with this just a little more. Let me take a black colored pencil. Oh, navy blue, my favorite. If you guys have black or white colored pencils, they're really great for this. Oh my God, I'm gonna regret this. Okay, guys, I'm gonna control myself and I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna use a white colored pencil instead. I'm so tempted to just like experiment. The problem is then it makes a giant disaster. Like I like what it's doing right now. So let me just control myself. Let me put some white down the light blue. And then these intersections where it's white over white, I really want that to be emphasized as well. I can do it with a colored pencil, but I think I'm going to get a better effect if I just put a little blob of gel pen if you happen to have one. Just be careful, it's the type of gel pen. This is a paint pen. This can go over colored pencil, but the other ones can't. One thing I do want to do though with this navy blue pencil is let's darken up some other areas. Where this stripe goes over the lines, I'm going to darken that up too. There's a lot, when you really look at it, there's a lot of little intersections on these, and the more of them you get, the better it's going to look. Turn it this way, darken that up, darken that up, darken that. That and that and that. Okay, I think I got them all. I'm sure I missed one, but you guys get the idea. Okay, so there's one type of plaid. Let's do another one. Let's do one where there's no white of the paper. I think I'm going to do this in, I have the blues out. I'm just going to keep going with blue, but I'm going to add some green this time. Okay, so again, I'm looking through my marker paper at my grid behind, and I think I'm going to do, let's actually do one where each direction is a little different. I'm going to go, ooh, that's really dark. All right. That's cool. We can work with that. Okay, blue, 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 and then how about some green? Can you guys even see the difference in these pen colors? Oh my God, what am I doing? So it's definitely an experiment. See what you come up with. You might love it, you might hate it, but the good news is you only have to do one. So go until you get one that you like. If you want to do multiple plaids, I'll give you extra credit if you are interested in doing the same plaid, but in different colorways. So what that means is you would figure out your plaid pattern. Like here, I'm 3 and then something else and 3 and something else, and then repeat that in a different colorway. So maybe instead of blues and greens, it would be reds and yellows or something. Okay, so now what about this direction? I'm going to take, maybe I'll just do this blue. Let's see what happens if I go like this. Ooh, fun. It's really neat. It's like they mix together. Now, you can, if you're doing watercolor, the process is exactly the same. You just have to be patient in between the line, in between each line. Even with markers, the markers get the paper kind of soggy, so let it dry in between. Okay, I like that. All right, now colored pencil, and let's see what I feel like emphasizing. I'm actually take this guy since I've got him, and let me darken up some of the places where a dark goes over a dark to emphasize it. I can see it's bleeding a bit because the paper has so much ink on it. So ideally you'll take a second between layers to let it dry. Okay, I'm gonna go right up the middle of these, with a really sharp navy blue pencil. And then I'm gonna go up the middle of this guy, up the middle of this guy, and I'm gonna darken up in there. I mean, the sky's the limit. Just play with the colors that you like and make overlapping stripes. That's really all there is to it. If you want this to read like a flannel, one thing you can do is take your pencil and come in and actually draw in. Can you guys see this? Let me zoom in on it. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to draw in the diagonal lines. Might be too dark to see it. Let me do it with green on the green area. I love that. If you guys, I wish you could see, oh, you can kind of see it. I need to take the time to sharpen my pencil more as I'm doing this. I always feel like I'm rushing in demos, but that just adds that little finishing touch that everybody just automatically knows is a twill woven plaid fabric. It's something we're pretty familiar with. And then let's do a white colored pencil on top of this. And I think I'm going to put white right down the middle of that blue, right down the middle of that blue. Oops, a little wobbly, and maybe right down the green, and right down the green, down the green. And then I can darken it up with gel pen, gel pen, gel pen. These need to be 3 inches by 3 inches finished. So ideally draw it a little bigger than 3 by 3 so that you can cut it out and have clean edges. All right, I'm going to quickly do a gingham with colored pencil. I think I'm going to do purple gingham. Why not? Gingham is that picnic blanket fabric. All right. I'm going quicker than I would like you guys to. And as a result, this is probably not going to be my neatest work, but let's just see if I can give you an idea of how to do a gingham. So if you're using colored pencils, you can do it on your Bristol board. I guess you could do it on sketch paper if you have decent quality sketch paper, but since this is going on your final project, it's probably better to do this on a piece of Bristol. I'm trying to be neat here. And color it in. Don't press too hard, because if you press hard, it's going to be really difficult to get the effect we're looking for when the stripes overlap. Okay, so you'll do all your horizontals, then you'll do all your verticals, and then guess what I'm going to do? Excuse me, I'm going to darken up the intersections, which you can see that they're already wanting to do on their own, but we're going to emphasize it. Okay, there we go. Obviously, you would do a bigger section because you need to do 3 by 3, but then sharpen your pencil and come in here and get these little intersections darker. And then when you stand back, I promise you it's going to look more realistic and much more like that kind of picnic blanket gingham that would result from the fibers being woven together and overlapping. Okay, so you guys get the gist here. If you wanted to do this darkening up, drawing the diagonal lines, you could certainly do that. And there's just, I mean, honestly, guys, there's infinite plaids you could do. Everybody has gray pens and black pens, and hopefully you have a white gel pen. There's a lot of plaids you can do just with that. Okay, this is rushed and sloppy, but I want you guys to just get the idea of how to overlap the colors and to emphasize the intersections. All right, last thing I'm going to do here, so that I don't make a really long demo video, is I want to just show you a variety of plaids that I've done in the past. If any of these inspire you, just pause the video and look at the pattern of colors that's in them, and you can copy something similar. Okay, the black and white and red is a classic. This one is shades of pink and green, another blue one down here. Really bad attempt at a gingham that I rushed. Let's see what else I got. I've got really simple green and white with a lot of diagonal lines. It's unfinished, but you can see how the part that's unfinished doesn't look good, but it starts to look better once you emphasize the overlaps. Okay, even this little overlap here where the thin line goes over the thick line, that gets emphasized. Here's a nice pink and brown one. That one was cool. Pink, white, and blue. I swear I've got like a zillion of these drifting about. This one was tricky. This one doesn't really follow the rules. This was based off of like an illustration of a plaid that somebody really liked. But the end result was pretty cool. It's unfinished also, but it's almost done, almost there. And then this was a step-by-step that I don't think you guys got a handout of, but you can see it's the first step. Second step is to emphasize. Third step, put some details. Fourth step, go back in and emphasize anywhere it overlaps. Okay. That one, I really like that one actually. Another one that's really classic color scheme. Another one there. Okay. Okay, so listen, have fun with this. You need to create one that's 3 by 3. It needs to match the color scheme of your project. So think about that. And then you also need to give your plaid a name. So maybe you're doing like a Christmas inspiration. It'll be Christmas plaid, whatever you want to call it, but give it a name so that it gets a label when it's placed on your category board. If you guys have any questions, just let me know. Okay, have fun. And remember, sometimes they come out horribly. That's normal. Believe me, I've made many horrible ones. But you just have to play around until you get one that you like.